To the Buzz, our conversation tonight with Vince Leon Guerrero. We're talking about a more effective system in teaching Chamorro. Vince, the headlines Monday morning, we woke up to overhaul of Chamorro. The governor says he wants a more efficient system and it's needed.
That was the headlines.
Okay.
As you know, in the business, you have an editor that will choose to write a headline, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's a quote.
It's got to sell.
But overhaul is not a totally inappropriate term. It may not be, you know, the nicest term to use because it's near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. But the concept of an overhaul being that first you need to diagnose, you know, an engine and check out what's. If you need to tear it apart, because the diagnosis is not enough to determine how to make it more effective, more efficient, more horsepower, better gas mileage, whatever your criteria is for examining it, you need to examine it, take it apart, find out what's not working, tinker with it, adapt it, put some new parts in, not throwing away. It's the same part, you're just replacing it because it's worn out and might need some assistance, resources, pour some money into it, put it back together, and we're not throwing the engine away.
Now there's this big thing out there, I guess a big cloud in regards to what is really meant by an immersion school. Is this another word used for a charter school that it's only going to we're going to take the program and just put it into one school, and if you want your kids to learn Chamorro, then that's where they'll learn it, in this one immersion school or charter school concept.
So that idea came from examining models that exist, and because we're not experts and we don't know, you know, what exactly to recommend, we said, let's have as a starting point of discussion, for instance, the Kamehameha School in Hawaii, which is a full-on immersion school. It's one that is by selection because they have more applicants than they can accept on an annual basis. And so they, you know, they go through a screening process. Hawaiian is not taught in every public school like it is here.
Okay.
So that's a big difference. And then on island, so that's one model, and we can look at different types of that, and we can play with that and adapt it. One school, a number of smaller schools spread out so that it's a lot easier transportation-wise. And then we can look at, you know, the model here on Guam, where we look at the Asian community. They send their kids to private schools and public schools during the regular school day and school year. After school and on Saturdays, they send them to their language schools.
Sure.
So that was the concept for two of those ideas that we floated. If it seems to have merit and is working elsewhere, perhaps this could be another starting point of discussion to examine where we're going with this. One of the things that I shared with that audience on Tuesday was, maybe we need to look at what was the program goals. And so what I did, Jess, was I actually read the law that established the mandate, and to my surprise, the mandate is for three types of programs. One is for basic Chamorro, intermediate Chamorro, and advanced Chamorro. And I'm not sure if we didn't have the resources to do all three, or if we said the basic Chamorro is going to be when you start in the early grades, and as you advance through the grades, you become intermediate and then advanced. I'm not sure, but I don't recall in all the years that I was in DOE, and I was there for a long time, that we had that distinction of three types of course offerings. Because it's important, because if we're offering a course in basic introduction to Chamorro, 20 minutes a day in kinder, first, second, third, that will get you basic introduction to Chamorro, an appreciation for Chamorro phrases and sentences and words. And we can achieve that goal.
And that seems where that seems to be the age group or the grade group that really grasp. I mean, they come home and sing and things like that and count. I mean, they're, you know, it's a new thing that they've learned. But it seems that we've kind of lost it, or we lose it after that initial. I could be wrong.
Well, my biggest thing about it is it doesn't really matter how much time we spend in school teaching Chamorro. If it's not being used after school, outside of school, in the home, in the shopping centers, at the workplace, as we play, as we commute and interact socially with each other, if it's not being used in all of those areas, then I don't know that we're actually perpetuating the fluent use and the rich use of the vibrant Chamorro language.
Well, I mean, one of the examples you said, you know, in the Asian community, hey, they go to English-speaking schools, of course, and they come home, they speak their native languages. You know, the great majority of them do, and so that continues to perpetuate their culture and their knowledge of their language.
And so that's a challenge because we can by law establish a school of instruction and what we're going to instruct students in, and we did that.
Yeah.
But we can't by law require people to speak Chamorro. So, you know, so we need to be creative in how we're going to address those kinds of things. How can we promote it? Do we do a campaign, you know, of, you know, phrases and words? Do every waiter and waitress speak bilingually, half a day, cocino tuli I order mizu, you know, something like that. May I please take your order? So that way it's constantly repeated, it's constantly, is that one way that we can do it? I don't know. But, you know, unless we talk about it, we'll never get to the
Unless we put everything on the table, no holds bars at this point.
That was the intent.
There we go. We'll be right back.